Most people believe that aging well between the ages of 65 and 85 is all about having good genes, good luck, or drinking green smoothies every morning. But what if the real secret to aging gracefully isn't about what's in your DNA or your diet? What if the rarest signs of healthy aging are actually found in small, everyday habits that most people don't even notice or talk about? After carefully observing elders who have lived much longer and healthier lives than their peers, we've noticed a pattern. There are 4 quiet but powerful habits that keep showing up again and again. These aren't flashy or trendy, and you won't find them in a typical health article. But if you're doing even one of them, you're already ahead of the game, and you might be one of the rare few who are truly aging well. In this video, we're going to break down each of these 4 simple habits and show you how they can make a big difference in your health and happiness as you grow older. So if you're between 50 and 85, or even younger and thinking ahead, this one's for you. These habits might surprise you, but they could be the key to not just living longer, but living better. Before we dive in, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more insights on living a longer, healthier life. And here's your chance to share. Drop a comment below if you recognize any of these habits in yourself or someone you love. Let's see how rare these behaviors really are. Number 1, you disagree, respectfully and often. In a quiet room filled with nodding heads, something valuable is often missing. Disagreement. Not the heated kind that breaks relationships, but the thoughtful kind that sparks real conversations. Surprisingly, those who continue to question, challenge, and speak up well into their older years often show signs of better mental health and emotional strength. It's not because they're stubborn or argumentative. It's because they're alive in the way that matters most inside their minds. Think about someone who never stops asking questions, even at 80. Maybe they challenge a political opinion at dinner, or they offer a different take during a book club discussion. That's not just personality, it's brain exercise. Each time they form an opinion, defend a viewpoint, or even change their mind after hearing someone else out, their brain is lighting up in places silence never could. The mind thrives on friction, not flatness. Staying quiet may seem polite or peaceful, but over time, it can slowly erode your cognitive strength. Agreeing just to keep the peace might avoid a moment of tension, but it also skips a chance for the brain to engage. When elders stop participating in these complex conversations, they often begin to drift into passive habits. That passivity doesn't just dull their thinking, it also dampens their spirit. Conversation, especially the kind with different views, forces the brain to adapt. It remembers facts, processes emotions, and figures out how to express things clearly. This kind of mental juggling keeps people alert and emotionally grounded. It's not about winning arguments, it's about staying connected to ideas, to people, and to oneself. In a way, every disagreement is a small act of resistance against mental aging. What makes this even more powerful is that it strengthens emotional resilience too. When someone is used to being challenged or having to explain their viewpoint, they're less likely to take things personally or withdraw. They know how to stand their ground while staying open to change. That kind of balance builds confidence and a deeper connection to the world around them. So the next time an older person speaks up to disagree, or you find yourself wanting to push back on something, don't shy away. See it for what it really is, a sign of mental vitality. An active brain doesn't just fade quietly into the background. It stays sharp by staying involved. And sometimes that means saying, "I don't think that's quite right," with all the life and wisdom those words carry. Number 2, you regularly reorganize or redecorate your space. Most people don't realize how much their environment shapes their mindset. The room you sit in, the pictures on your wall, even the direction your bed faces. These things tell your brain what kind of life you're living. People who live the longest often have a quiet habit. They keep changing their surroundings. It's not always big, expensive renovations. Sometimes it's just moving a chair, painting a wall, or bringing in a new lamp. These small shifts do more than just freshen up a space. They refresh the mind. There's something powerful about walking into a room and noticing it feels a little different. Your brain takes note. It wakes up. New layouts or objects create new visual patterns to process, and that stirs curiosity, whether you realize it or not. Think about how a hotel room feels. Just being in a new setup makes you more alert, more alive. That same sense of alertness can be created right at home, just by tweaking your space now and then. After retirement, many people fall into the trap of leaving things as they are. The couch stays in the same corner, the calendar stays on the same nail, and the room begins to feel like a snapshot frozen in time. It's comforting at first, but over time, that stillness can become a kind of quiet weight. It whispers to the brain that change is over, that life is no longer moving. But people who keep living fully don't let their spaces grow stale. They shake things up, and in doing so, they shake their thinking loose too. There's science behind this. The brain thrives on novelty. When you change your environment, even in small ways, it activates parts of the brain linked to learning and memory. It's like telling your brain, hey, pay attention. Something's happening. And that alertness adds up. Day by day, it keeps you mentally flexible. It becomes easier to adapt, to solve problems, to keep up with the world instead of slipping behind it. You don't need to be an interior designer or spend a fortune. A simple switch of artwork or bringing in a plant from another room can start this process. Maybe you rotate your bookshelves every few months or change the way your bed faces the morning light. These aren't chores. They're small signals to your brain that you're still growing, still changing, still awake. And the brain listens. It responds with energy, creativity, and a quiet hum of optimism. So when someone walks into your home and notices things feel new, even if they can't put their finger on why, that's not just style. That's a sign of life. It shows you're still evolving, still engaged with your world. And that quiet habit of refreshing your space, it might just be one of the most powerful ways to keep your mind young for years to come. Number 3, you ask more questions than you give answers. There's something quietly powerful about an older person who still asks questions. Not the kind of questions that come from confusion, but the kind born from genuine curiosity. You might expect them to be the ones handing out advice, always talking about how things used to be, maybe even dismissing the way the world is changing. But then you meet someone different, someone older who leans in when you mention a new app. Someone who wants to understand why young people are protesting, or who laughs and asks, okay, what does RISs even mean? That kind of person doesn't just surprise you, they inspire you. We often think of age as a slow drift away from the present moment. Like the older you get, the more you're expected to settle into what you know and stop keeping up. But the ones who resist that drift, who swim upstream toward new ideas and unfamiliar territory, end up keeping their minds sharper than anyone expects. Their curiosity acts like a kind of inner oxygen, keeping the brain alert, fresh, and surprisingly youthful. They don't do this to seem young. They do it because they're still fully awake to the world around them. There's a certain kind of sparkle in their eyes when they're learning something new. It's not just about the information. It's the thrill of discovering. And it's not limited to technology or slang, though those are often the first things that show the generation gap. It's about wanting to understand how the world is shifting. Why certain movements matter. What younger generations care about. They ask questions not to challenge or dismiss, but to understand, to connect. That connection keeps them from becoming irrelevant, not just to others, but to themselves. You'll rarely hear them say, back in my day, because they know this day matters just as much. They're not living in a memory, they're living in real time. That kind of mindset is powerful. It doesn't just keep them interesting at dinner parties, it actually changes their brain. Studies show that curiosity activates different parts of the brain than routine thinking. In other words, asking questions helps keep the mind agile in ways puzzles and memory games simply can't. And it's not that they have all the answers. In fact, they're okay not having them. They don't fear not knowing. There's a certain confidence in being the one who raises a hand and says, wait, can you explain that again? Even if they're the oldest in the room, that moment of not knowing doesn't make them feel weak. It makes them feel alive. It means there's still more to learn, and that's exciting. This kind of curiosity builds bridges between generations, between cultures, between past and future. When someone older takes the time to listen, to ask, to genuinely engage, They open up space for real dialogue. The wisdom they've collected doesn't go to waste. It gets reshaped, updated, combined with new information. That's how they stay not just wise, but relevant. That's how they pass down something better than tradition. They pass down a living, breathing mindset.